Hi there, this is Cassandra. I'm a Riffle in Time, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm going to be doing a VR from Peekaboo Rose, the standout decks of 2022. I've really enjoyed watching everyone else's videos, and I enjoyed it last year, so I thought this year I would do my own. I'm also being really selective this year about which decks are going to be in this for me, because there are so many decks that have come out this year or I've received this year or just spent a lot of time with, and it would be too big if I did just that. So I really limited this list to the decks that I've had standout readings with, or just those moments that when I looked back at the year and the usages of my decks, I remembered these readings or these card pulls in a larger sense. You couldn't not be here, I guess. So I'm going to do it that way. And I'm going to start with a deck that I'm not sure why I didn't get before this year, but it's the Weaver's Oracle. I have seen it here on YouTube a lot. So it's not one I'll show a ton of, but I remember I've had a couple good readings with it, but the first one I pulled from it, I felt very seen, and in a way that I think sometimes you're too in a situation to see its whole, and especially when it's like really wrapped up in who you are as a human. Sometimes the pieces just don't come together without outside help, and it was just one of those moments. I remember crying reading from the guidebook to my partner, and I just remembered feeling like this deck had found me in the right moment. So I really enjoyed there's like several readings I can think of that I had this year with the Weaver's Oracle that felt really powerful. So, and especially that one, there was one in particular. If you haven't seen the book, this book is so cool. There's nothing I can make sense of why I love the binding of a spiral bound book, but it just feels good to me. And that on its own. And it comes in this cool box. It's like, it makes it a standout on my shelf too. Next is a deck that there will be literally no surprise to anyone that it's here. I have it in 3 forms. This is the Gentle Tarot. I feel like I talk about this deck so much, and rightfully so. Mari is otherworldly. This creation has been the most impactful deck to me, maybe ever, honestly, at this point. And I would like to say what really changed the game for me was the guidebook, the full-size guidebook, because I've loved this deck, but I didn't connect with this deck in the way I do now until the guidebook came out. And I've been using it, the guidebook, the journal, and the deck all together, and it's been a really, really special experience. And I've had so many, I've used it a ton too. This is probably one of my most used decks of the year, if not the most used. The more I think about it, I think I've used this a ton. The only other deck I think that would be up against it on most used would be another deck we're going to see, but I do want to pull out this guidebook for a second, because I think that it is just amazing. And on its own, honestly, I would even, obviously it wouldn't be a standout deck, but even a standout item of the year. Like, I think the guidebook has really changed things for me in a way that I'm so happy to say. And it's brought me to new headspaces and new places that I don't know if I would have reached as quickly. And I really, really love the Gentle Tarot. And I feel like that is something most people understand. I feel like I don't have to convince that to you, because I think a lot of people feel similarly about the Gentle Tarot being like a big part of their practice. Another deck, I realize I'm not mentioning this. I do not have the Weaver's Oracle in the shop, but I do have all of the Gentle Tarot formats. Next is the Future Ancestor Tarot, and I cannot be more excited than I am about the full-size guidebook for that. It's actually going to be one of my Christmas presents. Like, I knew it was something someone got me, because if not, I would have bought it myself. But even more special, someone who loves me enough to get it for me. And this deck, I've mentioned probably a million times before. I have a really emotional connection with this deck. I also, like, I love Mari, I love Lexaluna. It's just one of those, I love them as people. I think they're amazing, and I don't know if it's like something everyone feels, but I can definitely feel when a deck is created by someone from like the best places in the world. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I think when you create something, your energy is inside, and I know that when I use this, it's like when I talk about it, I just want to cry, because I feel the feeling so almost overwhelmingly sometimes. I love this deck. I love this deck. And obviously I've had a lot of emotional readings with it, because it does always bring such a strong emotional feeling to me. And I'm sorry if none of that made sense, but this is definitely a standout deck for me. This is the other deck that I was going to say, if I had one that I maybe have used more, it might actually be this deck than the Gentle Tarot, because sometimes I didn't have it in me to use the Gentle Tarot. I just needed to pull a card and just be done, and not dig deeper into it, or I just needed a little message. And Outgrow Yourself is the deck I choose whether I have the energy or I don't, because if I don't have the energy to journal or go in deeper, I take the message at face value. And honestly, when you're having a hard enough time getting to the point to pull a card, being able to have something that says what it says so directly, I don't need to do more. I love the directness of this deck, and I love that it doesn't shy away, or I never feel like, I don't know, some people even I talk to, it just I feel like I just want you to say what you need to say and not beat around the bush maybe it sounds like I'm doing right now. Just say what you need to say. This deck is amazing. And because I've used it so much, and in moments where I didn't have the space or energy to do any more than just pull that card, how many times that card has been everything I needed to hear for that day to change my mindset, to change my energy. And this could not be left off the list, because it is a special one. I found that, I'm sorry, I have the decks piled over here. There are a few decks that I also carry both of the last two in the shop. There are a few decks that I do not carry in the shop. So actually I have one more that's available in the shop right now. SheWolfe Tarot. This deck I've had for a while, but I don't know what it was. Like the second half of this year has really, it's been a deck that every time I go somewhere, I want to bring it with me. It's very bizarre because like it's beautiful and I love the deck, but it's never been one I've like been overly connected with before this year. But we've had some moments, and I've taken it in places and times that I've needed it, and especially when I go to my best friend's house, I seem to always take this deck. I don't know if there's a time this year that I haven't taken it there with me. And it's been there in moments that I needed it and said things I needed to hear. And for that, I am forever grateful. I really enjoy the guidebook on this one as well. And I feel like a lot of times a good guidebook can make or break moments for me. Because if there's a moment where I'm needing more and I go to the guidebook and it gives that to me, it's even more special. Maybe that's one of the reasons. The Playful Heart. I feel like this deck, I've missed it the second half of the year. The first half of the year we had a wild ride and it was very emotional and very powerful. And then I think just so many decks have gotten in the way since then that I wouldn't say this was an all year deck, but it was a standout in the fact that it was the first and only deck that I've ever been able to do inner child work with. And I think that in itself is a pretty big deal for me to say about a deck, let alone that some of the readings that I've had. And it's just felt very loved and supported. And even the cards that maybe was saying things that always want to hear, it was in a good place. I swear to you, what card is it? There was one card I think I received like 5 times this year in like big readings, not just like, and especially I only used it the first half of the year. And like, I remember specifically the 10 of Wands from this deck only. This is the only deck I've ever gotten the 10 of Wands from, I think. And by God, every time I'm like, me. I really love the guidebook for this one too. It's just like short and sweet, but so spunky and funny and adorable. And if I could have that one in the shop, we already know it'd be there. The Somnia Tarot, this deck, I had a lot of really good journaling with. And I would not say that this is a deck that I did like spreads or like big readings with, but I did do a lot of writing with it. Just in general, I was like writing poems and short stories and just little whatever they be, whatever I have you. Just, I was writing with it and it felt really great. And I actually want to get back into it because, again, this was another deck that I think got lost in the year behind other decks. I would really love to get back into writing. I would take a card and write from inside of it, and it felt like magic. This actually, the Chariot card, is one of the cards that when I I thought of like standout moments, this was the card I thought about the day I pulled that, and like what I wrote, and it just felt really special. This card as well, I don't know if you have seen the Tower card from this deck, but I love the Somnia Tarot. It's a photography deck, which I don't have a lot of decks that even coming to the top of my mind that are out there that are even like in that format, but in that format is another thing entirely. Next, I'm going to do the Reclaim Oracle. I feel like this is another one that when people talk about like decks, that this one comes up a lot too. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I see this deck a lot in people's, like, especially if it's about like an emotional connection. I just had a lot of like saying what it needs to say, me hearing things maybe I didn't want to hear, but I needed to hear. And I also, since it is literally in shot, I got the journal just recently. So I did want to mention that it's another reason. I find that most decks that I have like a really big connection with, I journal with. And having a journal specifically for a deck, like with it in thought, is really special. But you know what this deck looks like. I feel like everyone does. Again, another deck, if I could have it in the shop, I would. Maybe one day. Always working and dreaming for more. The last deck, again, it feels like no surprise, but the Blood Moon. I received this deck this year, so this is the first time I've ever had it. I don't actually know when it came out, but I know that I got it this year, and that I also know that it's been a journey with. And again, I've written a lot with it, not just journaling, but like Somnia Tarot, I do like little writings with this deck. Something I want to get back into. I know that when I got the art book / guidebook for this, we had a whole nother session seeing the deck through the creator's eyes in a different way that I had been seeing it before. I think just the images alone are very like provoking to me. Even outside of tarot, like if I wasn't looking at it through the lens of the tarot, like if I was just looking at artwork, I think this would also have shaken me in the way it has. This was one of the cards, again, that came to my head, specifically a card from a writing that I did, and it just had to be. I know I'm probably forgetting a deck, honestly, just because I have so many at this point that I have loved. And honestly, I have moved on some decks this year, even decks that I have loved. With having the shop, I have a lot less time for decks that are not in the shop, because I work with a lot of decks when I'm doing content, and it leaves a lot less time for other decks. So I find that most of the ones that like really came to my head at first were decks that I use on a regular basis. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I would love to see more. So I hope that everyone's out there doing videos. If you're not doing a video, comment below, what are your decks? What is your moment? Whatever. I would love to hear more. So thank you for being here. I hope that you're well, and I will see you next time. I love you.